Administration throws its weight behind the National School Voucher Program that it says will give parents more educational options. Critics point to the negative impacts that school choice is already having on public schools. Arizona introduced the first universal school voucher program in the country back in 2022, and it may provide clues for what's to come. Stephanie Sy takes a look at how the program is faring.
Hey, 3, 2, 1, go!
This may look like a typical school, but it's actually a weekly gathering of homeschooled students.
Fridays are fun days. We really wanted this to be focused on enrichment.
Caitlin Redfield Ortiz, a former lawyer, and Brooke Bentley, a real estate agent, started Path Collective in 2024.
Brooke and I have 7 kids combined, and we've been parenting for over a decade. So we had met and found like the best yoga teacher and the best chess coach and the best robotics teacher. And so we really wanted to bring them together and have a fun day for our kids that was led by expert professional teachers.
The program is one of the results of Arizona's Universal School Voucher Program, called Empowerment Scholarship Accounts, or ESAs. ESAs direct public funds to parents to pay for things like home education expenses or private or parochial school tuition. Over 90,000 students are currently enrolled in the state, up from about 11,000 before the program expanded to cover all Arizona students in 2022.
Taking ESA has been a real gift for our family, a real blessing, because there are so many things that my kids can do now that they might not have been able to do without ESA, that I can make their education curated to exactly my child's interests, their abilities, what they're ready for.
The majority of ESAs are between $7,000 and $8,000. That money can be used toward programs like Path Collective, which charges $285 a month per student. Redfield Ortiz, also a former educator, started teaching at home during the COVID crisis.
And were there things about public school prior to COVID that you didn't like, that you didn't think were serving your kids?
Yes, I was very worried about bullying in schools. I was very worried about school safety.
State Superintendent of Public Instruction Tom Horn has long supported school choice.
Which schools and home schools are allowed to accept ESA funds from families?
Oh, there are no restrictions.
Anyone.
Yeah.
So I could start a school with no teaching qualifications and get money from families in Arizona.
If there are
taxpayer money.
If there are parents crazy enough to send their kids to you. The assumption, now this was the legislative decision, not my personal decision, but the legislative decision was parents are the ones that know best for their kids.
Horn argues that school choice will force public schools to be better.
I'm not talking about competition in the sense of schools failing. I'm talking about competition in the sense of administrators and teachers being motivated to do their best. And by and large, government monopolies are not efficient. Or in the case of schools, they don't necessarily do their very best.
Arizona students have long had a lot of options when it comes to what schools they can attend. But all of those choices haven't necessarily led to academic gains. Arizona is often near the bottom when it comes to student achievement, and the nearly $1 billion ESA program has come under fire for what critics say is a lack of guardrails.
So if we're talking about competition, it's just not a fair competition.
Raquel Mamani is a public school teacher in Phoenix and an organizer with Save Our Schools Arizona, which has been fighting privatization in schools since 2017.
If we're talking about using taxpayer dollars and, healthy competition, then we should all be playing by the same rules. They should be accepting every student that presents to their door. Just like in a public school, you should have clear and transparent accountability for how you use the money.
Local news reports have covered various instances of misuse, and the Attorney General's office has convicted several people in connection with schemes to defraud the voucher program. Mamani says public dollars should prioritize raising pay for public school teachers. Arizona also ranks almost last in the nation for per-pupil spending.
I, as a teacher, would love to see 90% of the funding being prioritized for our public schools.
The Deer Valley Unified School District in Northwest Phoenix is an A-rated district. But even here, Superintendent Curtis Finch sees what he calls educational experimentation since universal vouchers became available. Often, the kids come back when the experiment fails.
What we find is that since they aren't doing the state standards, there's a lot of internet curriculum that you can buy that says, oh, we're following the state standards. Well, when they come back, they obviously are not. And they don't realize the pace at which the public school student is under for learning. When they come back, they're often behind. And so it takes more resources for me and my team.
While the Universal ESA program is intended to give students of all socioeconomic backgrounds access to more options, since its start, the majority of the ESA program's participants have lived in higher income zip codes. More recent data has shown a slight shift to middle-class areas. Ninth grader Xavier Dudley used to attend a charter school.
I had bad days almost every day, and I was always getting into trouble a lot.
Using ESA funds, his mom Tiffany switched him to this so-called micro school. It was launched by the Black Mothers Forum to create a supportive educational space for Black children.
This is a private school, and so without that ESA, I wouldn't be able to pay that tuition. And so it is allowing me to put him in this smaller private school setting so he can get that one-on-one attention that he needs. Having somebody that actually looks like him, that understands his thought process, and help him walk through the emotions or whatever academic challenges that he faces.
Here, the students learn online in a classroom, and the adults in the room are called coaches instead of teachers.
If you look at the education system, especially out in Arizona, our children are not doing very well. They're falling further and further behind, and this is with our certified teachers.
Do you think this is the best possible education that your kids can get in Arizona?
I think it is the best for my children now. I don't really think there is a one-size-fits-all when it comes to education, because children learn differently.
As more and more parents make the choice to find better fits for their kids, the superintendent in Deer Valley, Curtis Finch, says he sees school choice as another point of polarization.
I'm the canary in the coal mine. I can tell them what it's going to be 10 years from now because I'm living it.
And the warning you're sounding is what? What are you singing, Canary?
Yeah. The warning is that it's not good for our society. I don't care what it is. Anytime you take groups out of society and they form their own systems, it's not good for society. And when we don't know our neighbors, where does that come from? That's coming from unplugging from the community systems. And one of them is public schools.
After decades of debate, the tide is clearly turning towards school choice. 18 states have now followed Arizona's lead, expanding their voucher programs to be universal. For the PBS NewsHour, I'm Stephanie Tsai.